Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today's episode is going to be over beginning on the hero's journey. So I've got a couple of comments and messages on Discord, like just telling me, hey man, I played EverQuest for years. I love it. The nostalgia is amazing. I come back to, the TLPs every couple of years, have fun for a few months, bounce out, and don't look back until obviously the next TLP comes out with a decent rule set. But I came across the hero's journey and I am lost in the sauce. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to answer a couple of questions today, the best I can, to get you started on the hero's journey the best way I know how. So first off, we're going to create a character. So let's go ahead and make a selection. You can be any of these character races that you have here. So if you've never played EverQuest before, or you have, this one you will have the availability to play anything here that you want. Typically on original EverQuest, you are highly limited on the race you can play based on the class that you want. So for example, here's a half-elf. Half-elf can't be a beast lord, berserker, cleric, etc, etc, etc. So if you wanted to play a half-elf, you were limited to the ones here that are highlighted: warrior, rogue, ranger, paladin, druid, and bard. Well, the great thing about the hero's journey is that you can actually pick 3 separate classes as your primary character. So let's just say that you really wanted to be a half-elf, but you don't want to be any of these classes for your main, your main class, but you also want to be an enchanter. You want to be a berserker, and to follow things up, you want to be a bard. Okay. So you can actually, you would have to go over to one of the characters that could be an enchanter if you wanted to be an enchanter on live EverQuest. But here, since you are going to have bard in your trio, you can actually be a half-elf, claim bard, and then whenever you go and pick up your additional classes, you can pick up enchanter, magician, monk, necromancer, shadow knight, shaman, whatever you want out of these grayed out class selections, you can actually build into your half-elf. So it opens up a lot of different options for you to be able to pick the race that you want. I typically either pick a frog or an Ixar. That's just my favorite. But I'm limited a lot on what I can play Ixar on the TLPs because I can't be a berserker, can't be any of these other classes. So I've actually got an Ixar that's part cleric, and that's awesome to me. There's also a lot of classes out there that can't wear robes that can now wear robes. It's just really cool to be able to like mix the trio up and get going from there. So what we're going to do today is we're going to pick a frog, and we're just going to name the frog something crazy. Hippity. Let's see if I can get that. And let's just say that I wanted to play a warrior. So we're going to skip the tutorial. We're going to click warrior, and we're going to try to enter the world. Name has been rejected. So let's just go ahead and type in rejected. Oh my goodness gracious. So this guy's name is going to be subject. And this is what you're going to see when you first log in to the hero's journey. A lot of stuff. So you're going to want to take a little bit of time to go ahead and set up your UI. Make sure everything is exactly the way you want it, because this is going to be what you look at for the next 100 million hours that you play the hero's journey, because there's no need for any other server at this point. And so once this, now granted, mine is going to copy a previous loadout I have on a different character. You can obviously make your loadout or create your UI however you want it. But the first thing we're going to do is put this book on your cursor right into your bag here. This is going to be what you're going to turn in to the ghost and the bazaar, and that's how you're going to start your initial adventure here on the hero's journey. So you're going to be in your hometown. Hometown is great. You can come back here later, but you're going to want to go to where it says special under the AA tabs. That's hitting V and going under special to Bazaar and back. Make it a hotkey, place it wherever you want on your bar here, and click it. When you click this, it's going to take you to the Bazaar. The Bazaar is going to be the main hub of where everybody kind of associates. And as you can see, tremendous amount of people here. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to pick your secondary and third class. So for this particular character, we are going to pick a monk and a paladin. So over here, we're going to go over to where it says paladin. Now, in the Bazaar, you will have every single guild master available to you, from paladin all the way down to rogue, wizard, magician, enchanter, all of them. In order to pick your secondary and third class, you're going to go up to your guild master. You're going to hail the guild master, and it will give you a selection here to become a paladin. And then it's going to ask you to commit to the path of a paladin. That way you don't end up making the, a mistake and clicking the wrong one. So we're going to commit to the paladin. You can hear a little fancy ding. And then we're going to go find monk. So over here, you cannot see monk. So we're going to go over to the other side. Boing. Over here, you're going to run into monk. So you're going to hail the monk, and you're going to become a monk. Are you ready to become a monk? I sure am. So now your beginning area is complete. You have become a monk, you are a warrior, and you are a paladin. So the next thing to do, and I'll tell you why you need to do it in this order in a second, you need to walk up here to the bank, and you're going to go to the bank that's closest to the Nexus Zone. Right in front of the bank, you're going to see this ghost. It's very easy to miss because it is like translucent. But at this point, you hand the ghost your book. Upon doing so, he is going to give you a large bag, and he is going to also just shower you with gifts. So we're going to have several different pieces of equipment here. And this is why you want to wait until you choose your secondary and third class to turn in your book. Because you want to be able to get everything that you can to start off with, and make sure that you've got the options of different equipment. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to shoot on our Iron Tico, which is 8 damage, 28 delay. Absolutely fantastic. Can't believe it's so good. And then we're going to shoot on our Broadsword, which is 12 damage, 32 delay. Wow, that's incredible. We don't really need this. You've already got other equipment. I like to move my stuff in here to open up more space. Up to you completely. You don't need the additional armor. As long as you get the initial one there. If you're a caster, you'll get a robe. If you're, melee or whatever else it is, you'll get, a shirt and whatever melee weapon associates with your class. So second, this is very important too. You've got all of your different vendors right here in the main room. You've got your AUG vendor. The AUG vendor is very important too, because you're going to have initial AUGs that are able to be inserted into your weapons that give you procs for healing, for damage, and the healing is either going to be lump sum healing, like this one just mends your wounds for 30 to 40, and then there's also one that does celestial healing, which is going to heal your wounds over time. So don't forget that these AUGs are here. You can place these in any weapon, and it just ensures that you can either bump up your damage or bump up your survivability in the initial stages as you're playing. So right here is going to be bags. This is important as well, because if you are a caster class that has a pet, you will have additional options here inside of the bag vendor for your pets. There are special pet bags, and I'll show you those. It's not going to show me those because I don't have a pen. But you can actually buy, it'll be like Beast Lord pets, Enchanter pets, Bard pets, and several different options there for those. You've got the initial bag that's going to have 4 slots, and then you've got a much larger, more bougie bag that's going to have 8 slots for the normal pets, and then the Magician gets its own thing later. So you've also got your trade skill supplies here, general supplies here. If you are a rogue, your rogue vendor will be over at the Rogue Guildmaster, and they are going to provide you with what you need for your poisons and, you know, poison making and all that kind of stuff right here. So heading back in here, the only other thing I need to show you guys just real quick, there is a very easy way to get to the East Common Zone, and that is if you've got a computer that, like, for some reason doesn't like to handle a tremendous amount of people in one zone, you can click right here on this fireplace and it'll take you to East Common Lands. East Common Lands literally has 90% of what the Bazaar does. It just is not going to have each class Guildmaster. So you won't be able to get your spells here in the initial phases, and you won't be able to train to get your secondary and third class here. But if you're already selected your secondary and third class, or you're level 65 or whatever it may be, this is going to be a much less laggy area for you to bind yourself to. You'll still have all of your tombs here. You'll still have plenty of vendors. You'll have the parcel vendor here. That's going to give you any kind of mail that you buy from the bazaar, banker, and then of course a couple of different just random vendors. So whenever you click on this guy, you're going to hail him and it'll say, attune yourself. Attune your Bazaar and Back ability to return you here. So now whenever you hit Bazaar Portal, it'll take you to this zone instead of the original Bazaar where, you know, it can be a little more laggy or whatever else. So next we're going to click on the map. When you first start, you're going to have access to Antonica, Fader, and Otis. So it's important to remember that you're not going to have the other selections until you progress through the things that you need to progress through, and those are going to be whenever you're in Antonica and you first start, you'll have to kill Nagafen and Vox. When you move into Kunark, you've got to kill those dragons as well, which are the Severus, the Ice Dragon in Dreadlands. You've got to kill Trakenon, and then you'll have to kill one more in Skyfire Mountains. And it keeps going down. As you hit the Velius, you got to do other targets. Lukeland, more targets. The Plains, more targets. So be sure to look through here. Your original will have access to the Plains of Fear, Hate, and Sky as you progress to level 46. And then, of course, after that, you will, you know, move on to the other areas. So let's go ahead and go to... let's do Greater Fadar. Now, also keep in mind, you are going to have access to all of these different areas just to go ahead and click at your fingertips, as long as you have learned the waypoints. So as you can see here, I've got 3 waypoints that are grayed out because I have never been to those zones. If you want to have these waypoints available to you, you simply run up, and I'll show you that in just a second. You'll run up to the little area where the waypoint is, and it will learn it. So let's go ahead and go to Greater Fadar. Sorry guys, I got a cold. So you see this area on the ground. If you see one of these, you'll walk up to it and it'll say, you know this place well, or you have learned this place. So another good thing to keep in mind, you're going to be able to go places that may hate you if you chose Ixar, or if you're a necromancer or a dark elf or whatever else is, and you click on Akanon, then you're probably going to have a bad time, especially until you get high enough level to where you're able to, you know, survive a bunch of guards attacking you or whatever it may be. So as you can see, with the upgraded weapons we got in the starter kit that we got from turning in that book, we're able to make short work of these creatures out here. So as you can see in just a second, we are going to go to our quests, which is right here under quests, and go to Quest Journal. And this is going to pull up what we need to do here. So we need to reach level 5. Once we reach level 5, we are not only going to get some platinum, which is going to be awesome for our starting spells, but we're going to get a simple Ring of the Hero. This is the first piece of gear you're going to get that gives you a Simp Strike. And what that is it's going to give you additional damage on top of whatever you cast, your direct damage spells. So what you'll do is when you get this, you'll take this piece of gear and you will place it inside of your spot right here. And what this is going to do is as you kill creatures, it's going to actually level up your item from regular to enchanted, and then it's going to level it up to legendary. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a cracked staff, and we are going to put the cracked staff in the power slot, or whatever this is called over here, and we're going to level it up. So as you kick this, not only will it attune it to you, so it's now no drop, but we are 1%, 1.12% into leveling that cracked staff up to enchanted. A good basis is whenever it's 5 damage, 32 delay. As enchanted, it will now turn into 10 damage, 32 delay. And then when it becomes legendary, you will get additional stats, or you will get, sometimes it can add procs, sometimes it can add other things. So it's definitely worth it to push up to legendary if you've got the opportunity to, but not necessary if you're just trying to get all the gear that you can maximized until you move on. I always recommend, if you've got like 5 or 6 pieces of gear that you're waiting to level up, go ahead and get all that gear enchanted first, because that's going to give you the double stats from base. And then at that point, once you get it all doubled up, you can now move into getting it legendary, and piece by piece until you get everything maxed out. So this area seems to be rather camped up. So let's go ahead and roll over here. And we will go ahead and see if anything's over here, I guess. But another cool thing that I feel like I mentioned, but as a warrior, paladin, monk, you are able to dual wield at level 1 because the monk has that. You're able to wield swords because the paladin and warrior have that. You're also able to wield monk weapons because the monk has that. So all 3 of your skills now get completely combined into the 3, or into the 1 character. So it makes it incredibly fun to try to synergize 3 different characters into 1 and create the best 3 classes together that you can think of. So next thing we're going to do is, after we kill the spider, or the spider kills us, right now it's up in the air, we're going to head back to the bazaar based on the bazaar and back button, and we're going to go over what to do whenever you level up. So as you can see, I'm getting a Blessing of Life. This is going to be a proc based on the paladin that's actually going to heal me based off of my my hits. So if you look at all the healing I've gotten here, it kind of tells you that this spider would have just absolutely just drugged me all across Greater Fae probably. But because of that proc, he did not. So let's go ahead and hit Bazaar and back. And this is going to take us back to East Common Lands. Remember, I told you there's not going to be the spells here or anything like that. So we're going to have to come over here and click the map. And once we do that, you're going to click, I believe it's either Velius. Let me see. Or maybe I just click on this guy, actually. I haven't done this in a long time. Lukeland, I apologize. I couldn't figure out which expansion that was in. So Lukeland, hit the bazaar. Once in the bazaar, you're going to go right back to your guild master, and there will be 2 NPCs at each of the guild masters that are going to allow you to get your spells. So we're going to skip past monk because we don't need monk. Monk doesn't get any spells. and you're auto granted all of your skills. So there's no reason to go back to the monk for anything unless you just wanted to train additional things that you don't feel like leveling up yourself. So here is Paladin. We're going to click on Cavalier here. If you don't know about this trick or tip, you hit level here and it will allow you to put everything in order of the level. If you do know about it, then that's awesome. So we're going to click on this chick, hit the level button, and it's going to give us our spells here all the way up to level 25. And this one, as you can see, level 30. So you're able to come here to get your spells. These spells, though, however, will stop at level 50. So after 50, you will have to go to Plane of Knowledge to get your additional spells up to 60. And you can't access Plane of Knowledge, to my understanding, until you get Planes of Power unlocked. So you can either buy your spells on the Bazaar, or your spells can drop for you in Kunark as you're leveling to 60 based on the progression you get there. So if you guys have any questions about that, leave it in the comments for sure. I'll definitely help you out, or we can get somebody to help you get your spells. Just reach out to me anytime during the game, and I can help you with that. Whenever you are doing your progression, you are able to click on these creatures here. This says Lukelin, this says Planes of Power. As you're clicking on them and hail them, it will give you a list of what you need to do to access this expansion. Now, as you can see here, mine will say you have access to the Runes of Kunark. Well, it's account wide. So if you have access to one account or one character to everything, you'll have access to all characters on everything. So that's really cool. So that means when you base on that on your first character, and you actually focus on that character, get through all the progression, that means all your other characters will have the exact same thing. Your banker will be right here. You've got a tremendous amount of room in your bank. You've got 24 slots there. And if you don't want to put regular bags in your bank, you can come over to the bag merchant, and they'll have banker bags. These are 20 slots. So 20 times 24, you know what I mean? So you'll have a tremendous amount of room in your bank to be able to store additional items, any kind of epic quest stuff, and move from there. So here is the Tribute Master. This is an awesome NPC. So here you're going to be able to turn in items for value. Once you turn them in, you can have additional cost over here that's going to say your current favor, and you can choose to get these different tiers of things. So for example, this is going to increase your stamina cap. You've got all different kinds of stuff over here. I usually like to get the ones that decrease the amount of time it takes me to cast spells, increases my ability to double attack, increase my ability to do critical attacks, things like that. So guys, that's basically a good starter to getting on to the hero's journey. There's a lot more to it once you start leveling up, finding out what AAs to get first, where to get the best in slot item lists, where to make sure that you're, maximizing on, hey, what weapon should I use? Should I go with monk weapons? Should I go with a two-hander since I have a warrior and a paladin in my trio? Should I go with one-hander for the paladin? We've also got a lot of different AAs here for the paladin that are going to make it to where you do more damage if you're wearing a shield. There's a bunch of stuff that you've got to go over. My suggestion is to always check the Discord. This Discord is probably the most active Discord I've ever seen for any EverQuest server I've ever played. And I think the reason that is because everybody asks questions, and there are an incredible amount of helpful people out there that are going to give you the answers or direct you to the spot you need to get the answers, because they've probably been asked before. So I definitely recommend using the Discord to your full advantage. You will be able to /Bazaar, and you can go in here and search whatever you want. You will find a lot of very cheap gear that's even up to from Planes of Time, things like that. It's always my recommendation for longevity not to go out there and just try to boost your character to just godly tier, you know, when you first start, because it just kind of makes everything so trivial. You get kind of bored up until you get to the end game content, but that's up to you. It's however you want to play. I know we've all played this game for 25 years, so we're probably to the point where we don't really necessarily want a huge challenge. We just want to live the nostalgia of running through Kelthon and stuff like that. But I still recommend, you know, at least leveling up partially close to where you are in era. That way you can still have a little bit of a challenge, but still have a lot of fun. You will find having all three classes together and the legendary items alone, even from in era gear, will make you extremely powerful. So you're not going to have too much of a struggle to clear content. And keep in mind, this was a server based on solo play. So most of the stuff is obviously, it's meant to be soloed. Now, that doesn't mean you can't bring 5 friends with you and have a great time. You know, that would be amazing. But it is designed around solo play. So that is my kind of beginner's guide to the hero's journey. I think that that will definitely get you started. Remember, get level 5, turn on that quest. You'll get the first 10 platinum that you have to get your spells with, which should be more than enough for your spells up to like level 15. And just kind of move around from the map there. And if you see something grayed out, like Castle Mistmore, for example, if you see it grayed out here on Fader, then that means that there is a teleport location in Castle Mistmore. Just walk over there, find it, grab it, and from now on you can port right over to Castle Mistmore. So you will get something called EOMs. Now, I will explain what EOMs are kind of in a nutshell. Echoes of Memory are going to be something that you can either get from randomly killing creatures in the world, or spending donation points or dollars to get, I think it's 1 echo of memory per dollar that you donate. And these can be spent on different things in the game that are only going to be quality of life things, like bigger bags, other, you know, I look, here's a sword that looks cool or whatever else it is, like just like a transmog item or whatever else it is. So nothing pay to win at all. But the biggest thing that I would spend it on is right here. You have the ability to travel to the waypoint. It costs 5 EOMs, and it's going to be forever. So once you get it once, you'll never have to get it again. And it's a fantastic way to travel around the world of the hero's journey without having to just walk someplace or travel there and then go find the echo and all the other stuff. So alrighty, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and we really hope to see you out there. So you have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next video.